So my title today is Christmas. It could have been different. What's he all about with that? Well, we all like to celebrate, I know that, and have fun, right? Well, most of us do. I have to admit, I was never the party guy. I had an amazing experience with God a long time ago. After I joined this church, I went to a huge God's Day celebration in upstate New York. There it is, in Belvedere. I'm sure some of you were there. And it was, there were thousands of amazing young people there celebrating. It was incredible. So we were celebrating God's Day. Your grandparents. We were young. But me, well, as I said, I was never the party guy. And there I was, moping around, saying to myself, what am I doing here? I should be out doing my mission work, raising money door to door. And that was me. That's why nobody invites me to parties. But I was shocked when I heard God clearly scolding me, saying, how can I celebrate this day if you think like that? I want to celebrate. Let me celebrate through you. And I was like, whoa. So I can never forget that. I've tried to change myself over the years, but I have to say it's not so easy to do. So what about Christmas? What about all that Christmas celebrating? Well, I have to admit, from when I was a young Catholic boy, I wondered how the designer and creator of the universe could possibly get excited. What am I doing now? Oh, yeah. Possibly get excited about. That's not going the right way. I'm sure having a hard time. I wondered how the creator and designer of the universe could possibly get so excited by Easter bunnies, colored eggs, Christmas trees, tinsel, and all that stuff. Now, you know, I probably wondered about that all my life. And I did. Even until today. That's how sober I've always been. So, that's what I want to talk about today. We all know Christmas can be a very exciting, very external thing for some people, right? But not just in terms of presents and cards, trees and ornaments and stuff like that. Not just in terms of not so religious people. Even in terms of some churchgoers. Christmas can also be very external. In a sense. You know, we can focus on the wise men rather than on their profound spirituality and faith. We can focus on ceremonial worship. We can make sure, make sure you get to the two critical, essential masses every year, Easter and Christmas, right? So you can avoid going to hell. And we can focus more on the glamorized manger scene instead of the real story that's behind it. Why is this? Okay. Well, is it just us? Are we the problem? Maybe not. When people rejected Jesus 2,000 years ago, the Son of God, the people God had painstakingly raised for over 2,000 years, Jesus directed St. Paul to take his message and plant his gospel and his message and his heart and his love and his vision in the hearts and minds of Europeans and other people living around the Mediterranean. The good news and Jesus' message of the heart slowly began to move from here up to here, to the head. The gospel of true love, God's true love, became more and more heady, more and more intellectual, more and more doctrinal and ceremonial, like the Greek and Roman pagan religions. For example, we've always focused on the water baptism of John the Baptist, right? Which John said was a baptism for repentance. Instead of focusing on the baptism of God's Son, Jesus, which John said was a baptism of spirit and truth, and indeed love of God, rather than water. But we still focus on that. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, Christian people do have a passionate and profound love for Jesus and connection to Jesus in heart, especially this time of year and Christmas. But I'm saying not only the general culture, but even some faithful religious people, even some of us, tend to focus on the externals of our faith sometimes, too much. Well, so what? I didn't get up here to throw cold water on your fun, on your happy Christmas. But how might Christmas be celebrated today if things had gone as planned 2,000 years ago? In terms of Jesus' life and his heart, why did things turn out this way? That's the point. Father Moon explained it clearly to us. He spoke about it like he was there 2,000 years ago. Like he was Jesus' blood brother. Jesus did have brothers, 4. And 2 sisters at least. The Bible mentions them by name. James, the book of James was written by one of Jesus' brothers, so you know his name. Who knows the other 3 names? Okay. Well, Jesus' other brothers were named in the Bible. They were Joseph, Simon, and Judas. Not Judas Iscariot, another Judas. And in a very real sense, I've always felt strongly that Father Moon is like the brother of Jesus. Literally, in his character, his heart, his mind, his mission. That's why he understood Jesus' life and mind so well, and his heart. He told us that Jesus' deepest desire, even when he was in his 20s, was to win the entire Jewish nation over to his side. Marry together the children and young adults of the Arabs and the Jews in holy blessing marriage and make them free from the stain of original sin. After that, he wanted to take his gospel of God's true love to India, to the Hindus and the Buddhists. After embracing and winning the people of India, far more profoundly than Mahatma Gandhi did many centuries later, he wanted to go to China and take his gospel of God's love to the Confucian people. Of course, he wouldn't go all these places by himself. He would bring his wife and family. The wife and family he so desperately wanted, but couldn't have. Not only that, but he would not just go there and talk to people, give lectures. He wanted to have large blessing marriage ceremonies, with millions of them, removing their original sin and their blood ties to Satan once and for all. Think about it. The Bible records that Jesus cried. Oh, it's too small to read, isn't it? Sorry. Maybe you can read it, but I can't. Who can read it for me? Good.
As he approached Jerusalem and saw the city, he wept over it and said, if you, even you, had only known on this day what would bring you peace, but now it is hidden from your eyes. The days will come upon you when your enemies will build an embankment against you and encircle you and hem you in on every side. They will dash you to the ground, you and the children within your walls. They will not leave one stone on another, because you did not recognize the time of God coming to you.
God's coming to you meant him. And that actually happened in 70 AD. And Jesus cried more than once. So, why? Because nobody wants to hear this, nobody wants to face it, but things were not going the way he wanted them to go. That's why. Simple as that. So what if things had gone as planned, as the prophet Isaiah had predicted they would? The cultures of those peoples have always been much more inward than their brothers and sisters in Europe and elsewhere in the world. More self-reflective, you know what I mean? I know everybody everywhere has some part of God's huge personality, so everybody's good. Each culture expresses a different aspect of God's personality. I know, it's all good. But Jesus' message was primarily one of heart. Of heart. Not as much as one of the head. I mean both, but you know. Filial piety was the backbone of the spirituality of the people in India and in China. Yet filial piety is a strange word to us Westerners. It's barely recognized in America and throughout much of the Western world. What's that? So enough already. What does that have to do with Christmas? Well, what might Christmas have looked like if young Jesus' hopes and dreams had become reality? It might not be the same at all. It might be totally different. Christmas might have had kind of an Eastern flavor, more than a European one. It might be more introspective than flashy and external. It might be more of an adult feeling than a children's festival. Instead of songs like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, we might resonate more with O Holy Night. Instead of focusing on the Christmas financial bump that many companies depend on to make a profit every year, businesses might close down for a day or two in observance of the birth of God's Son. Instead of drunken parties and lonely people crying themselves to sleep Christmas night, people might be lighting candles and turning off all their distractions so they can get into the profound spirit of it all. Instead of food banks feeding the hungry at Christmas meal on the street, loving families might take in a homeless person and include them in their celebration. Instead of remembering Joseph, let's see if we can get this one up. Instead of remembering Joseph and pregnant Mary being turned away in Joseph's hometown, we might instead be reflecting on how God's Son was born in the high priest's own house, where he should have been born. Instead of glamorizing the manger scene, we might be recalling how all the priests of Israel lined up to pay their homage to the newborn Son of God. Like this famous painting. I don't know if it's French or Italian or what. Painting. It looks like a Bronco game or something, right? And if you look really close there, Jesus is in Mary's lap, no, not even a diaper yet, And he's admonishing the priest. He's scolding the priest that's... Anyway, the point is they're all dressed in their Saturday best, coming down in streams to pay homage to Jesus, the baby Jesus. See, that would have happened. That would have happened if the high priest Zechariah there on the right had believed God's messenger, Gabriel, when he told him that the Messiah was about to be born. Father Moon said, if he'd have believed that, then all eyes would have been on pregnant Mary. With daily and hourly reports in the main temple in Jerusalem and throughout other temples probably, telling how she was doing in her pregnancy and how often she felt contractions and when her water finally broke. The best midwives in the land would be begging to serve her and be lined up to attend her. That's the birth we might be remembering today on Christmas. Think about it. I would get a different mouse. No human being had ever revealed to humanity the living divine heart and personality of God before in all of history. Since Adam and Eve, maybe for millions of years. What an event! If there had been fireworks at that time, the whole country would have been lit up. Even some aliens might have somewhere be looking down and seen it, and they'd be wondering, what the heck's going on down there? If things had gone the way Jesus and God had wanted and intended, the way Isaiah predicted they would, Christmas today might be very, very different. So, my message is short. If you're a Santa Claus party person, that's totally fine. Stay sober and go for it and have fun. But if you're more the deep, reflective type, like me, be yourself and quietly ponder the incredible Son of God and his life. Not just the life he lived, but the life that he could have and should have lived. It might be refreshing to Jesus and God, who actually might not be all that much into Christmas trees, tinsel, wrapping paper, and all that stuff. I'd like to conclude my message with this prayer.
Stars. 'Cause our brightly shine, and the lights of heaven above
I'm sorry. Anyway, can't save that. Thank you.